In the quiet town of Briarwood, Massachusetts, there stood an old wooden house at the edge of Maple Street. Its paint had peeled, its windows had grown tired, and its porch creaked with every breath of wind. Inside that house lived a woman most people no longer noticed. Her name was Eleanor Whitmore. At 72, Eleanor had become invisible to the world. People passed her in grocery stores without eye contact. Children whispered "old lady" behind her back. Neighbors waved out of politeness, not care. No one knew the storms she carried in her chest. No one knew what had been taken from her. And no one knew what she was planning. Once upon a time, Eleanor Whitmore was a woman people admired. She had been a school librarian, the kind children loved because she remembered their names and saved their favorite books. Her laughter had filled rooms. Her kindness had healed broken hearts. She had a husband named Thomas Whitmore, a carpenter with gentle hands and honest eyes. Together they had a son, Daniel, bright, curious, and full of dreams. Their life was simple, but it was rich. Sunday dinners, autumn walks, Christmas mornings with cinnamon rolls and laughter. Then came the night that destroyed everything. It happened 12 years ago. A fire ripped through the Whitmore home just after midnight. Eleanor escaped with burned hands and a shattered soul. Thomas didn't make it out. Daniel didn't either. The police called it an accident. Faulty wiring. Insurance papers were signed. Sympathy cards were sent. Casseroles arrived for a few weeks and then stopped. But Eleanor knew the truth. The fire was no accident. 3 men had been seen near her house that night. Victor Hale, a powerful real estate developer. Marcus Bell, the corrupt fire inspector. Evan Cross, the local councilman. Years earlier, Eleanor and Thomas had refused to sell their property. The land was perfect for a luxury housing project. Victor Hale had offered money. Then threats. Then silence. Until the fire. Eleanor went to the police with her suspicions. She showed inconsistencies in the fire report. She begged. She cried. They ignored her. Victor Hale was rich. Marcus Bell had authority. Evan Cross had influence. And Eleanor Whitmore was just an old woman. Grief aged her quickly. Her hair turned silver. Her back bent. Her voice softened. People thought she was broken. But grief does strange things to the human soul. Some people collapse under it. Others sharpen. Eleanor became patient. Quiet. Observant. She stopped begging the system for justice. She began studying it instead. For 12 years, Eleanor watched. She learned schedules. Habits. Weaknesses. Victor Hale rose higher, luxury homes, political donations, magazine covers. Marcus Bell drank more, hid secrets, falsified reports. Evan Cross preached morality on TV while hiding affairs and bribes. They had everything. And Eleanor had nothing left to lose. She read books on law, psychology, and finance. She learned how powerful men fall not by force, but by exposure. She kept journals. Recorded conversations. Saved documents. Her house became a quiet war room. Every night, she whispered the same words before sleep: "Justice is patient." The town didn't notice when Eleanor Whitmore started walking straighter. They didn't notice when she bought a new coat. Or when she smiled to herself. But Victor Hale noticed when an anonymous email arrived at his office. It contained old zoning documents proving illegal land acquisition. Marcus Bell noticed when his bank received a notice of investigation. Evan Cross noticed when a journalist called asking about a fire from 12 years ago. The past was knocking. And it was wearing Eleanor's face. Victor laughed at first. Who would believe an old woman, he said to his lawyer. But laughter faded when the media got involved. More documents surfaced. Bribes. Fake permits. Illegal demolitions. Victor's investors pulled out. Protests formed outside his buildings. And then his wife found out about his affairs. Victor Hale, the untouchable man, was bleeding from all sides. Marcus Bell couldn't sleep anymore. Every siren sounded like confession. Every knock felt like arrest. One night, Eleanor visited him. She stood at his door, small and calm. "I remember your signature," she said softly. "You signed my family's death certificate." Marcus trembled. "I just did my job," he whispered. "No," Eleanor replied. "You sold your soul." She left him with copies of the original fire report before it was altered. 2 weeks later, Marcus Bell was found dead in his car. Suicide. But Eleanor knew the truth. Guilt had finally done its job. Evan Cross fought harder. He denied everything. Smiled for cameras. Blamed political enemies. Then the recordings leaked. His voice. His deals. His lies. The public turned on him overnight. His family left. His donors vanished. His career ended in disgrace. As he stood outside the courthouse, reporters shouting questions, he saw Eleanor across the street. She didn't smile. She simply watched. The town began whispering Eleanor's name again. Journalists wanted interviews. Neighbors looked at her with new eyes. She declined all attention. Revenge was never about fame. It was about balance. One cold morning, Eleanor visited the cemetery. She placed flowers on 2 graves. "I kept my promise," she whispered. "They didn't win." The wind moved through the trees like applause. For the first time in 12 years, Eleanor Whitmore felt peace. But her story wasn't over. Because justice, once awakened, never sleeps.